What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Sonoy Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, I'm joined by JD, and we're going to get into a little transfer portal talk, recruitment talk as it pertains to North Texas, as well as talk about the UTEP game really quick as well. JD, thanks for hopping on with me today. And where can everybody find what you do in the podcast that you guys do?
Absolutely. The Real JD on GoMeanGreen.com. We do a couple podcasts a week. We've got the Barbershop podcast on Wednesdays, and then we will sporadically do the recruiting show. Usually that really fires up in the off season, closer to National Signing Day. In the regular season, it's mainly the Barbershop podcast. We do that on Wednesday nights. And then you can find me on Twitter at North Texas Eagle.
Awesome, guys. And before we get into all things that we're going to talk about today, you already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football, G5 football, transfer portal, college recruitment, any or all of the above, consider hitting that like and subscribe button because that is all that we talk about on here. Okay, so I guess a little bad news first. Word got out that Upton Stout is in the transfer portal. Obviously, there's all types of speculations of who may go in and, who may not. And he was one that was teetering, I guess you could say. And, it's unfortunate because I've heard nothing but great things about Upton Stout. I've heard, could be one of the most talented DBs in the room. And for a talent like that to leave, it's unfortunate. But, I mean, that's the landscape of college football. And, the portal gives and takes away. And, what are your thoughts on the Upton Stout transfer?
Yeah, I mean, you hate anytime any player goes to the portal. I mean, I don't think there's ever a time that, the fan is excited about one of the players on the team going to the portal. You hate to see a young guy like Upton, who was not only a highly sought after recruit, but also, seemed to make plays, right when he got on campus. I mean, he's seen the field quite a bit and, has made an impact. The defensive back spot, cornerback spot, that's a position that's not the easiest to recruit either. I mean, you're kind of out there on the island. I hate to see it go, but, it seems like the whole year he was kind of down in the depth chart. We've had some younger guys, Rich Tejada is a guy that kind of comes to mind that's kind of stepped up. Gaddy's been playing good. But like I said, he's just a guy that I don't know if he didn't get along with the new staff. They weren't the ones that recruited him. So you always got to think of that when you're switching staffs is, these aren't their guys. So, I don't know if it was an attitude thing, if it was a system thing. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you hate it, or I hate it anytime anybody gets the portal, especially, a young guy like that with a ton of potential. If it's a junior or senior that's been around for a while that, they are who they are, I think it's a little different. But yeah, a young guy like Upton, it's definitely a blow, but, you wish him the best of luck. Hopefully he lands on his feet somewhere and the young guys we still got on the team, step up and fill that void.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really intrigued to see where he'll go because I think he definitely has all the talent to be a Power 5 defensive back. I just don't know if he's put enough film out there for a Power 5 to pick him up at the North Texas level. I'm not sure, and I think if he was to stay in the G5, though, I think he would be. I mean, if he lands the right spot, right system, I think he would be a really good G5 defensive back. And again, kind of wish.
And I hate to be negative Nancy, but really the reason North Texas got him wasn't for lack of skills. It was more lack of size. So I think that's probably going to hurt him a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that there's not going to be a Power 5 that, swoops in and takes a chance because, like I said, he has made plays and has put pretty good film together. But I think in the long run, the size is going to hurt him a little bit. Maybe somebody recruits him as a slot corner, maybe, but I just don't. There's not many 5'8", 5'9" Power 5 corners out there.
That's true. One thing, what are your thoughts on this? So, just speculation on our parts, right? But it's fair to say that there's a solid chance that we're going to get a new coaching staff for next season. I think that's a very decent possibility at the least. So, for some of these players that are wanting to considering transfer from North Texas, do you almost feel like if they were to stay and see how the cards shuffle as the coaching carousel, plays its way out in Denton, that they almost get a transfer without having to transfer because maybe and who knows what it was with Upton Stout. Whether it's he just doesn't like the new scheme he's in. It wasn't the guys who recruited him. This, that, attitude's not meshing well from a coaching players relationship standpoint. I mean, who knows? But if we get a new coaching staff in here, you kind of almost get like, well, I get to transfer in a sense, like get a whole new, deck of cards in here to coach me, and without having to waste my transfer. And if it doesn't work out next year, then I'll transfer the following year. Do you have any thoughts on that philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point in the season, it's kind of a weird spot to hit the transfer portal. You almost, with 3 games left, you almost say, you'd almost benefit more just riding it out till, after the season, then jumping the portal in, see how the season kind of plays out. Because I mean, heck, if we end up going to a bowl game, I mean, you're missing out on, the bowl trip and everything else. So, yeah, like I said, it's weird jumping in the portal at this time. Like, I don't see many advantages of it. You might get a team that hasn't used up their cornerback scholarship yet, or that may be one benefit. But I mean, at the same time, like I said, with so many moving parts, we're still a pretty good ways from signing day and stuff. I think if there is a coaching change, you hear it a lot now. Most new coaches, when they get hired, their first thing they do is, after the introductory practice conference, whatever, is meet with the team, because with today's landscape in college football, the transfer portal is, I mean, it's technically free agency, and at any time, your whole team could hit the portal. So, I mean, your first job as a head coach is to kind of go in there and recruit the players that are already on the team. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd say, anybody that's thinking about, transferring, at least see how the season plays out, for one, and then two, if you're upset with the coaching staff or whatever, there's not a guarantee that they're still going to be here in 4 weeks, So, there's not really a benefit to jumping in the portal 3 weeks early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. All right, kind of moving things over to a little bit of a brighter note. The recruitment side has been a little quieter than normal this time of year, I would say. Usually we have more recruits in the boat than we do now, but that might be due to scholarship availability, saving things for the portal. Who knows? Again, pure speculation. But we did pick up one in Cam Robertson out of Plano, and he's 6'4", 230-pound edge rusher in this 22 class, 24/7 composite, has him at an 84 rating, and holds 24 offers. A handful of those offers being, Power 5, and yeah, I mean, pretty good addition. I mean, there's definitely potential there, to potentially build on and develop, and having all those offers again, the Arizona States, the Utahs, Houston, all have offered him, UTSA, of course, and just, and the list goes on and on. You can check that out on 24/7 Sports. But what do you feel about this pickup? And do you have any foresight, I guess? I mean, do you anticipate more the recruiting side heating up a little bit here, or do you think it's probably going to stay kind of how it is, until the portal gets a little bit more aggressive? And just what are your thoughts on that as a whole, Cam Robertson, as well as the state of recruitment right now?
Well, first of all, I think Cam Robertson's a huge pickup. He checks, I mean, virtually all the boxes that, as a North Texas fan, you hope, every recruit is. He's got the size, he's got the rankings, and he's got the offer list. And, most people probably say, well, most of those offers are probably, dried up. If they have dried up, I don't think it's for lack of production. I mean, his senior year, he's put up some amazing stats. I think he had, 3 or 4 sacks just a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, he is a talented kid that I think can, make an impact at North Texas pretty quickly. As far as recruiting kind of being slow, we've talked about it before. They don't have a lot of scholarships to play with. So, I mean, I think they're being extra particular with who they hire or they offer and try to get committed. At the same time, I think, with that being said, like we talked about the portal a while ago, I think they could be holding off, to see, maybe a grad transfer, quarterback, or, I mean, there's a lot of spots that, looking at the team now, that you could fill and get some immediate impact guys. So, most of the offers we've seen thrown out the last few weeks have been to to JUCO guys. So it wouldn't surprise me if Cam Robinson was probably one of the last high school kids we get committed in this class, just because, like I said, there's not very many spots left.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit pre-tape, but for anybody that is wondering, so with Upton Stout being in the transfer portal now, does that free up a scholarship that how do you think that works as far as, like, where does that scholarship fall? Does that give us an additional scholarship we can offer now for this 22 class and or for a transfer portal, or does that get applied for the following season? I mean, any idea on how that plays out?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure how the particulars. There's some ways, like I said, to like your actual scholarship. You can sign for a class. It's a pretty fluid situation. I mean, there's ways, gray shirt, blue shirt, ways to get extra additional commits on campus earlier. So I'm not sure how North Texas, how that's going to affect. I know it definitely frees up a spot on the overall scholarship list, but as far as the recruiting class goes, I'm not sure how that will be handled as far as an opening spot.
Yeah. All right. Well, while I have you on, let's move forward a little bit to the UTEP game coming up. And, kind of, I think they're only favored, or the line might have moved a little bit to, I don't know. I think they're only favored by a point or a point and a half or something like that. But so I kind of see this game as a kind of aside from UTSA, we wouldn't talk about that when that week comes, but as for these next two games, this is a kind of a last ditch effort for UNT to get a quality win. I mean, I think they're 6-3. Is that right? What, UTEP?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 6-3. And we're
so
3.
So exactly. A little bit opposites, but if we could beat UTEP, and Eric C. Henry said it on his Underdog Dynasty podcast. He said, I'm not really too impressed with UNT as of late. I mean, he's, we did beat Rice. That's commendable, I guess you could say. I mean, they beat UAB. Cool. And then Southern Miss again, 5th string quarterback. You really can't put too much stock into that. But he said, let UNT beat UTEP, and then we'll talk a little bit more about UNT. So all that being said, I mean, how do you feel? I mean, what do you think? How do you think we match up with UTEP? And you just give us, I guess, your quick breakdown of the game for this Saturday.
Yeah, I think UTEP's a better team than we faced probably the last 2 weeks. Nothing against Rice or Southern Miss, but I think they are they're a different team than the UTEP teams we've faced of the past. They're a more balanced team. I mean, they've got good quarterback play. It's not just it's kind of switched. Like, we're the running team, and they're kind of the passing team coming in this game. I think their defense is probably one of their strong suits. UTSA kind of ripped them apart, but I mean, they've been kind of doing that with everybody they face. So, you hope that UTEP's coming in after, the UTSA beat down, and they're, it could go either way. They could be hungover from getting beat down, or they could be, ready to bounce back and get some revenge. So it could kind of either way. But like I said, I think they are a much better team than the UTEPs we've played in the last few years. I mean, it's going to be I don't think their schedule's been as hard. I mean, I think if UNT had played their schedule, we could be, 5-4, 6-3 as well. So, I mean, I do think they've had a much lighter schedule than what we've played. But at the same time, I don't want to take anything away. I mean, you can only play the teams on your schedule, and they've taken care of business. So, but it's not every day you have a 6-3 team versus a 3-6 team. And that's pretty much a pick 'em. I mean, I feel like that's pretty rare. So, I mean, I think North Texas, it handles business, takes care of business, plays like they did Southern Miss in the second half. I think we've got a very good chance to get the W. But we're not going to be able to spot UTEP 14 points and expect to come back. I mean, that's not an option.
Absolutely not. And you don't want to overlook FIU at all, because I mean, that would be very North Texas of us to somehow beat UTEP and then lose to FIU. But hypothetically, if we were to beat UTEP and then again just make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's and beat FIU, then we could go into that UTSA game as a 5-16, which, I mean, wasn't that long ago. We were 1-6, but again, it's gotta beat UTEP first. So we'll see how that shakes out, man. From a personal standpoint, I think my spirits would be a lot higher with a win over UTEP as opposed to a loss. I think a loss might really drain my tub, for lack of a better term. But
I would
yeah,
say it's. I mean, obviously, just stating facts. I think it's a must win. I mean, it's a must win to keep our bowl hopes alive. It's a must win to keep the Seth train rolling. I mean, it's like I said, it's a kind of a make or break, which is kind of when you get that 6th loss in college football. I mean, every game the rest of the way out is kind of a make or break, because I mean, I feel like this year was kind of bowl or bust, and right now we're still got a chance. But yeah, I mean, it's a must win for sure.
Yeah, man. So that it's just crazy to think about. So we won the FCS in Northwestern State, and then we lost 6 straight.
Yeah,
man, we really.
And the sad part, looking back at that, is when you start, hindsight's 2020 whatever. But I mean, there were some winnable games at the first of the year. I mean, I think looking back, Louisiana Tech. I mean, that was a team that Louisiana Tech's kind of showed their true colors. I think we went and was thinking, I think we put the La Tech brand kind of on a pedestal, and that we kind of did like we did against Southern Miss. We didn't show up until halftime, and then it was too late. But looking back, that game was a game we should have won. The Liberty game was a game it looked like we were going to win virtually the whole game. So yeah, I mean, it's sad that we are here at must win with 6 losses already, but a couple games the ball bounces, or we show up a little earlier, or finish a little stronger. I mean, we could be 1 win away from 6 wins as opposed to 1 loss away from 7 losses.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, all right, JD. Thank you so much for joining, and look forward to this UTEP game, and go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.